Many, many years ago, when I was actually a priest that was even younger than Father Bogue is now, if you can believe that. There was the parish I was assigned in was very, very huge. So big that on Easter Sunday, we had a children's mass. So I'm up there and I'm trying to talk to these younger elementary age school kids about Easter, about an empty tomb, about trying to get them to understand this concept. Not an easier thing. It's like Christmas just, I don't know, is a lot easier for kids to grasp this baby being born. So I'm like doing my best, and I not really doing too well, and I'm trying everything I can, and I finally get to the point where I think, okay, well, they kind of got it, and I think the people kind of got it, and so I'm ready to go back, and I'm really ready to slump over, and all of a sudden there's like a little hand that goes up, and a tiny voice from an angelic girl, and she said, "Then what happened?" Well, truth be told, that's a really good question. The resurrection is both a single moment and something much, much more. It began in a very, very innocent, quiet way in the middle of the night, as someone who loved Jesus very much, Mary Magdalene, came to the tomb, I'm sure to pray, to mourn. And she was surprised to find that the big stone that had been rolled across the cave was not there. And so she walked in and could not find the body of Jesus. She was, I'm sure, concerned, maybe thinking someone had come and desecrated the body. Certainly not instantaneous recognition. And she runs, and her first instinct, let me go to the apostles. And as she goes there, Peter and John, two of Jesus' inner circle, decide to go to the tomb. And as the story unfolds, through John's recollection, he gets there first. Well, it makes total sense because he's a lot younger than Peter, and so that's probably a true fact. And he stands kind of outside this little cave, and he's kind of peering in. And Peter just comes up behind them, and the minute he gets there, he walks right in. And when Peter walks in, he begins to inspect things like, there's the burial cloths, there's this, there's that. And in a sense, he sees it literally for what it is, this place where Jesus' body was, and now it's not. Then it says, then the other disciple, which of course is John, came in, he saw, and he believed. Well, it probably wasn't that immediate, but he had a relationship with Christ. He was his best friend. And he had, it was in his own recollection at the cross with Mary. But the moment of resurrection, as immediate as it is all about a process. It's all about something that unfolds. We saw that with Peter. He got it. We heard that in the first reading today. He was there preaching about the cross, preaching to people to get baptized, letting people know the good news. Paul, who wrote the letter to the Colossians, also got it. And some there think it was instantaneous. He was blinded by a light and was led into town, and then he said he was baptized and he believed. Well, if you read Paul's own words, it seems like it was 1.5 to 2.5 years later that all happened, as he learned and grew and struggle through the faith. And in a lot of ways, that's what this day is about. Resurrection is both a snapshot, but it's much, much more a movie. It's something that unfolds. It's kind of like if you're awake for a sunrise, which I'm not up for too many, I'll admit you that. But when you watch a sunrise, it's not like you turn a light switch on in a room. You see the peak of a light, and it grows, and it grows, and it grows. And before you know it, there's light. To me, Easter could not have come at a better time. I know there's people that are, kind of seeing the irony and the death toll from the pandemic growing. But in many, many ways, there's also something else going on. We've lived the Passion. We lived the Passion for the last 4 to 6 weeks. We've lived the Passion in the past week from Palm Sunday through Good Friday. And in a sense, we have done that in the midst of the coronavirus. And there's still a long, long way to go when things will someday get back to normal. That's not a question that we can answer as to when that will be. But we need to, even as we have a certain kind of respect for the disease, its effects, and the way that we are trying to approach this, we also need to have a peek ahead. We need to think about that day when all will be well again. Even as we continue to become infected and some still passing from our midst, we have little glimpses into what's going to be coming. Again, they talk about starting the country, talk about, Broadway's got a target date, and they're talking about sports, and they're talking about, and no one knows exactly when that's, but the fact that we're talking about it shows that we're beginning to have that glimpse. There will be a resurrection for all of us. For those who've died, a literal resurrection. And for the rest of us, a lot of mini resurrections. Just as there are many deaths, there are many resurrections. In order for us to get back to work, to school, to be in the embrace of family and friends, for everything that means anything to us in life. Our spiritual nature, which is undoubtedly true, is something that we have to reach deep within ourselves to grab onto. It's not a matter of one and then, we forget about the virus and now we talk about it. No, they're both going to go on simultaneously. But we have to be sure that there's that balance. It's okay to mourn death, but it's much more important at the same time to celebrate life and to celebrate resurrection and to celebrate light and life that God gives us. Thornton Wilder wrote a number of plays that are among my favorites, and one of them probably is most famous, Our Town. There's a short monologue in which one of the characters says the following, and I quote, "Everybody knows that something is eternal, and it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't the earth, and it ain't even the stars. Everyone knows in their bones that something is eternal, something that has to do with us human beings. There's something deep down that's eternal about every human being on earth." That's what we have to reach for. That's what we have to look deep within for. That's what we have to celebrate. All of us have been affected during these times and continue to be so. Some more than others. Really, it's just all different for each one of us. That is the nature of life, and even more of Christian life. I'm not here to encourage and bring life and bring hope because I'm a priest. I'm here to do that because I'm a Christian. And that means it's my job and it's your job. It's our job to do that for one another, to lift each other up, to show people the light, to show people the possibility, to think about that day when all again will be made whole. As challenging as these last month has been, and maybe a couple months to go, who knows when, there will be an everlasting resurrection. There will be an even greater appreciation of all we are and all we can be. Resurrection teaches us to keep hope alive. You and I are called to that challenge. And so the question posed by that young girl over 35 years ago, and then what happened, has been answered many, many, many times over the last 2,000 years of belief by believers who have offered hope to their broken world around us. But now that question needs to be answered by us. Jesus Christ has risen today. And then what happened? It's up to you and me.